Hey, it's Which Word of the Day? Today's word is glyph. Noun. A glyph is a shape or symbol. They are marks that are an ancient and universal medium for magic. In magic, glyphs are a language. They are your sigils, runes, and other symbolic languages you might use, such as the Theban alphabet or alchemical symbols. They are your spell grids and your magic circles. You can see them used all the time in media, and they always have a sense of mysticism and awe.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published material in the Charmed universe and decide how it fits into the grand narrative of the TV series. Spell worders, we have lots to cover today. Oh my gosh! Well, we just had our 1-year anniversary, so that's exciting, and now we are going to deal with the aftermath of that. So we had a review giveaway on March 4th that ended, and on the 5th I did a Instagram live video. I know I didn't make a big announcement, but it was there where I put all the names who entered on a wheel, and I spun it 3 times and got our winners. I want to thank everybody who entered because all of your reviews mean a lot to me. All of them were amazing, and I'm grateful for you spreading the word on the podcast. That's always great and helpful. And, this is my way of giving back. So everyone who entered, thank you. And then congratulations to the winners. The first 2 get the same prize. They get a t-shirt, magnets, and print of me with the books. And that was JJ Wong and Mr. Mock Turtle. JJ Wong is from Virginia, and Mr. Mock Turtle is from England. Very exciting. And then our grand prize winner was somebody who actually came on the pod before. He was my guest in Something Wiccan This Way Comes, Thomas Visser from the Netherlands. So I have to ship all the stuff to the Netherlands, but he gets the 3rd season Blu-ray. He gets a 1998 TV guide of Charmed, and then he gets a blank journal of Crossed Double Crossed. So congratulations to everybody, and thank you again for all of the support I've been getting. I'm very excited that we are creating this little community. It's a lot of fun. I hope to do more giveaways in the future, so stay tuned for those. And then we have another piece of homework today. We have Ultimate Power Challenge results. Yay!
There's one more battle on the horizon, one unlike you've ever faced before.
Ultimate Power Challenge.
Last episode, I proposed an Ultimate Power Challenge where I asked where you can tell me all the instances a birthday was celebrated in the series. So anytime we saw a birthday cake or card or something. And so I'm going to go over the 9 that I found, plus the honorable mention that I will count because it was intent to celebrate. So here we go. So the first 2, actually, it's a twofer. Season 1, episode 4, Dead Man Dating, we had Mark, the ghost, who celebrated a birthday before he died, sadly. And then Prue's birthday at the end of the episode, her surprise party. Then we had season 1, episode 19, Out of Sight. It started at David's birthday party. That was the boy that got captured by the Grimlocks. Then we have season 2, episode 19, Ex Libris. And this is a little bit trickier because it was Victor's birthday, the father. We didn't see Victor at all, but they had a birthday card that was going around, and Prue was refusing to sign it. So there. Season 5, episode 12, Centennial Charmed, is Cole's birthday. He was turning 100 years old, even though technically that was wrong because he should be over 100, but continuity. Then we had season 5, episode 22, Oh My Goddess, part 1. It was Mikey Morris's birthday, Daryl's son. He was having a birthday party in the park, probably the same park that David was having a birthday. But, it's a popular spot, party spot. Then we had season 6, episode 12, Prince Charmed. It was Piper's birthday. They had a whole, Mr. Right was summoned, and they had a whole little food fight. Very fun times. Then we have season 6, episode 16, The Courtship of Wyatt's Father. This was when they were celebrating Wyatt's first birthday. Goodie bags and balloons were everywhere. Yes. And then I have season 8, episode 12, Payback's a Witch, where it's Wyatt's birthday again, and he brings his little action figure dolls to life. The Indian, the cowboy, and the army guy. So then, The 10th time, which I was going to make honorable mention. Actually, you know what? I'm going to count it now because I remember distinctly Leo having wrapping paper for this. It was season 7, episode 21. Death Becomes Them. Chris's birthday. They were going to celebrate Chris turning 1, but then got too busy with the Zanku stuff and decided not to throw him a party after all. Poor Chris. Wyatt gets 2 birthdays in the series. Chris never got even the one he was supposed to have. Typical younger brother. Especially for Chris. But I'm still gonna count it because they did have wrapping paper in the scene. So 10 is the total. There we go. And our special spell worder feature will be Nisha, who got 6 out of the 10 correct. So she got Prue and Mark, she got Cole, she got Piper, and she got the second Wyatt. And she got David from Out of Sight. So she got those 6. I do want to shout out Flavio Lopez, though, as well, because he got 5 out of the 10, including Victor's birthday card in season 2. So he is pretty good and pretty close. But our special spell worder is Nisha today, and she actually took advantage of the Anchor app and recorded messages. So we get to listen to her voice response to these questions that I asked for the feature, which is going to be very exciting. So I get to play these for you in the podcast itself.
My name is Nisha, and you can find me on Twitter at NishaVM88 and also on Instagram at WitchCat114.
How did you discover Words of the Witches?
I discovered the podcast via Twitter when I saw that you had made a post about the fitting the books into canon, and then realised that you were actually talking about your own podcast. So dive right in. I'm actually not that far in. I think I'm about 5 episodes in. I've just finished Voodoo Moon, so I'm a bit far behind. And the books I have been reading ever since I was younger, so about around the time they came out. So I've got them all, and it's been a while since I've read them. I'm sort of rediscovering them through the podcast, but I am trying to jump back into them. It's a bit hard coordinating it around jobs and child, but I am trying.
What made you a Charmed fan?
So I came to Charmed when I was about 12 years old. My mum watched the show before I did, and she convinced me to watch an episode for her because she wasn't feeling well and we couldn't get the VCR to work. So I watched Murphy's Luck, and that was the one that got me sort of really into the show. Although I did see Is There Woogie in the House first at a friend's house. I wasn't quite into it then, but Murphy's Luck is what sealed the deal.
What is your favourite Charmed episode?
Oh, favourite episode. I've actually been sitting here for a while trying to think what my favourite episode is. And the only way I can do that is to divide it into the Prue era and the Paige era. So my favourite Prue episode is Chick Flick. Its special effects are so ropey, but the episode itself is amazing and I love it. And my favourite Paige episode, a lot more to choose from, so I find that really difficult. But I think I'm going to have to give it to Sense and Sensibility, because PMS Monkey, you can't beat that.
What's your favourite moment from the series?
My favourite moment in Charm, that one's also really, really hard. It's like asking me to choose my favourite child. Oh my god. I think it's probably going to have to be in 6 Feet Under when Paige tells Piper, stop yelling at death. I think that's probably my favourite one. I'm going to go with that one, but there's just so many.
Are you familiar with the books, and do you have a favourite?
Oh, favourite Charmed book. That one is both easier and harder because I'm trying to recall which ones I liked, and it's been a while. I think I have a soft spot for Whispers from the Past because that was the first one I read. And I think my favourite book, I think I'm going to have to give it to Leo Rising because it is really well written because it's Paul Ruditis and he's amazing. And also, I'm sure you recall, there is a character called Nisha in there and she flirts with Chris, and my other half is also called Chris, so we were quite excited about that. So yeah, I think I'm going to give it to Leo Rising.
And I actually haven't read Leo Rising yet. It's one of the books I've been most looking forward to. But yeah, I think I haven't read the last 4 or so books, so there will come a time when it will be all fresh, brand new to me, never experienced. So yay. If you had a magical power, what would it be?
If I had a magical power, oh, that's a tough one because every single one has their merits. I think I would probably go for orbing or teleportation of some description because I'm chronically late for everything, and that would just make things a lot easier and also probably a bit cheaper, petrol wise. And as much as I would love to be able to blow stuff up, I have a short temper and I also sneeze a lot. I can just imagine causing a lot of chaos if I blew stuff up. So yeah, let's go with orbing.
Anything you'd like to ask me?
So I'm a few episodes behind. I mean, a lot of episodes behind. So you might have answered this already, but I'll ask it anyway. So, of all the cast members that you've met, who is your favourite to meet and why?
That's a hard one because they were all so amazing to meet. Every one of the charmed actors that I've met have been just wonderful and amazing and sweet and interesting. So, it's really hard. I mean, Alyssa was super gracious. Rose was really cute and adorable. Holly was just sweet. Drew was a little goofball. And Billy was fun. I sang to him. Michael Bailey Smith was super great. I'm gonna say actually Brian Krause. I think, just because he was so welcoming, and when you meet him, he's just so energetic and so happy, and he tells you all the stories that he has, and he complimented my arms every time. He thinks I have really great big arms, and so I feel really good when I talk to Brian. I mean, not to say I didn't like anybody else, because I loved meeting everybody else, but I think Brian just really gives you a sense of calmness and makes you feel welcome and really like one of his crowd. All right, so now with all that business taken care of, let's get on with the episode. So this is episode 29, and this is the 28th numbered book, but it is the 29th book we've done, but one of them wasn't numbered. So my guest is Shayna. Welcome to the show.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited because you have a Charmed podcast that I listen to regularly. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Sure. So I do a little podcast called Charmed to Spellcast with my partner in crime, Bryce. And it started as a way, it was really me roping Bryce into hanging out with me every couple weeks because we've been friends for a while and we moved to a new city together. And it was just kind of a way for us to hang out. And I had this wild little idea because I love Charmed. It's one of my favorite shows, and she had never seen it. So here we are 3 years later, now having gotten almost to season 3. We're so slow, but enjoying it so much every step of the way. And you asked me to come on your show, but you also made this amazing little recording of our theme song, which was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I love that you, like, especially in the beginning, I know you get really busy now, but you would write like a song for every episode, and you have your theme song, and I love them. Like, I just jam out to your songs all the time.
Oh my God. I want to write more of them. I think it's just like everything else, the last now 2 years have totally sapped any like creative energy I have. So we're lucky if we just like schedule a podcast recording. But every time I do write a song, I feel so excited and energized, and hearing that feedback from you makes me really happy. So maybe there will be more regular songs in the future.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no pressure, but yeah, it's just nice to know someone's got your back. I love that.
Aww.
You do lots of interesting things. Your show is very intellectual. You're much smarter than I am, both of you.
No.
You study film and queer studies and things like that, which I find fascinating and really, wonderful work. And, I'm a bisexual guy myself. So, it's like, I feel like such a kinship.
Hell yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I mean, Charmed was, for me, I didn't know it at the time, but watching it as a young kid, I was so in love with Piper. I was so in love with Holly Marie Combs, so much so that when I was like high school or something, I was a writer and I wrote this like elaborate story, and she was kind of like the center of it, or like a character based on Piper, it's all just fanfic. She was at the center of it. And I realized basically through that I was like in love with this character, with this woman, and that's how I kind of came out to myself. So it's really fun for me to be able to talk about Charmed, also knowing that it like really helped inform my queer identity, and it was just such a positive thing for me growing up. So I love that you pointed that out. And yeah, by kinship, love that, all because of Charmed.
All the feels. So how did you come upon Charmed? Where did your discovery of the show happen?
I may be wrong because I don't have the best memory in the world, but I want to say that I watched the first episode in middle school, um, when I was just like over at a friend's house for a sleepover, and this was her favorite show, and we watched the very first episode. And I can still remember how the opening of it, of San Francisco at night and the moon and the like wind chimes, how that was just such an exciting and a magical experience for me. So that definitely takes me back. But it was middle school for that first episode, and then I think I checked out DVDs from the library, in order to watch everything. And I don't think I, could find them all in order or anything. So I saw like seasons 1, 2, 5, 6, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Um, I've now since I've seen the whole series multiple times, but yeah, it was middle school.
Yeah. San Francisco. Yeah.
Francisco. Oh, well, okay, what's so funny is that I'm from Northern California,
Yeah.
but I watched the first episode with my friend who lived on a houseboat in
Oh.
the San Francisco Bay. So when it came up, it was San Francisco. It's like, oh my God. So I feel a very special connection for
Yeah.
all those reasons.
Those cityscapes really set the tone. It had a very magical kind of feel, and I totally get that. It's great.
Yeah. As much as we make fun of it, San Francisco is such a magical city. So,
I've never been. I still need to take a visit.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. Let me know if you do ever go, and I'll tell you my favorite places
Oh.
and some of the places they didn't film, but they used as a backdrop.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that'll be fun. Cool. So I guess we'll start this book thing. Now, I know you ordered the book, but it didn't come yet. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it didn't come. So I was just in Vermont for 2 weeks taking care of chickens.
Chickens.
It was the best thing in the world. And I ordered the book, and it just didn't get to me in time. So I'm going off of this very detailed summary that you sent me.
Yeah, we'll go chapter by chapter. I think at first glance it does give people like a little bit of a heart attack, like, oh, this is a lot, but it does go by pretty quick.
Oh no, I'm ready. I'm so excited.
Okay. And so yeah, you'll be discovering the story as we go for the first time, and we'll take in any questions you might have, any elaboration you might need, and we'll see our live reaction. It's very exciting. And then when you do get the book, if it comes, then you can read it and then see how it really went down.
I'm so excited. I know you might be lying to me.
This is how I want the story to be, right?
I know. I'm gonna have to come on another time and be like, okay, this is not how it went.
Right, exactly. Call me out. So this book is called Mystic Knoll, and it has season 6 promo pictures. Phoebe with her very short hair and Paige with her strawberry blonde hair. We're in the season 6 promo picture of books, and in the background there's like these large trees, and then the sun is shining through. It's very like glistening, it's kind of like sparkly. A really beautiful little scene. And then it has the tagline, "You call this a vacation?" Question mark.
Oh my God, I love the covers so much. They're so dramatic.
Yeah. Some are better than others, but this is really a beautiful cover. And then the back of the book says, "A curse was made, an innocent born. To darkness her small life was sworn. Gather the forces, bring them together. Save this girl from sadness forever." Ooh. All vanquishing and no play makes for tired, grumpy, charmed ones. Paige decides that what they need is a family getaway. She'd love to explore her witch heritage in Salem, but Phoebe and Piper vote for a relaxing beach trip. Luckily, Leo points out they can do both. They'll spend a day or two in Salem, then the rest of the time on the beautiful Massachusetts coast. It seems the girls have gotten a break from evil, but late flights and wrong directions conspire to sidetrack the travelers, and they find themselves hungry, exhausted, and nowhere near Salem. They happen upon a bed and breakfast run by a crotchety old woman and her strange, shy granddaughter. They're not your typical innkeepers, and soon Piper, Phoebe, and Paige find that nothing in this small town is typical. It's all a little, well, mystical. It looks like a working vacation for the charmed ones.
I really relate to wanting to go to Salem for a vacation.
Yeah, I mean, that would really be fascinating stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Probably very haunted.
Yeah,
But
yes. The author of this book is Diana G. Gallagher, and she wrote several books before this: Beware What You Wish, Spirit of the Wolf, Dark Vengeance, and Mist and Stone. So
love you, Diana. Thank you for writing all these.
This book was published January 25th, 2005, and then reprinted February 7th, 2005. And it's supposed to take place, according to the internet, this takes place between Nymphs Just Want to Have Fun and Oh My Goddess. So right near the end of season 5, even though the season 6 pictures.
Ooh, Oh My Goddess. Those are some of my favorite episodes ever.
A lot of people really are drawn to those, yeah.
Yeah, they're dark. I mean, well, they're both sad and also really, fun and frivolous. But man, I feel like it starts getting into some really tough stuff right around there.
Oh yeah, you get the dramedy. It starts off light, and then you're like, "Oh, this took a turn."
Exactly. So this is a perfect book. I can't wait. Okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Yes. So chapter 1. Paige comes home to find Piper reading a book to baby Wyatt. Wyatt! This is Wyatt's first book. His first book appearance.
God.
So yay! Paige recently started temping and really wants her and her sisters to go on vacation. So here we go. This is another thing to note, because this is the end of season 5. She technically didn't start temping until the beginning of season 6. Although I do think it's feasible that she could have started temping at this time. We just didn't know about it. It's possible that happened.
That's true.
Too. So
that's true.
But yeah, so here she is temping, and she's like, "Okay, you guys, I'm going on vacation. You got to come with me." And Piper's like, "Are you kidding me? We can't do that. We are so busy." Paige concocts herself a magical Xanax potion.
Wow, relatable.
She doesn't call it that. She calls it like a relaxing potion, but it's essentially a Xanax potion.
Just Xanax.
Yeah, right. She's like, "I need to feel good and relaxed. It's fine."
Paige is like, "I don't have health care."
Exactly. Phoebe was in the middle of a half-written article, and minutes before it was due to Elise, she accidentally deleted everything on her computer. She's like, "No!"
Also relatable.
Exactly. I've written so many papers where it's like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's your heart. But she's like, "I have my notes at home," so she calls Piper, and she's like, "Piper, can you tell Paige to go grab my notes and orb them to me?" Because I really need to turn this in. Elisa wants it like stat.
Oh my God, Elise.
Oh, Elise. And then Piper is reading Good Dog, Bad Dog to Wyatt. That's the story she's reading to Wyatt. So she leaves to go tell Paige to go to get Phoebe her stuff. And then when she comes back to Wyatt, she finds that Wyatt had conjured the cartoon dog from the book out of the book.
Wyatt. Oh my God.
With his shenanigans.
That's the problem with magical babies.
God. So she's like, "Oh my gosh, this dog is getting mud all over my house." Paige delivers the files to Phoebe, and Phoebe notices that Paige was hovering above the ground, just ever so slightly, a side effect of her magical Xanax potion.
Oh my God.
She's like, "You might want to fix that." She's like, "Whatever, it's fine." So Pepper begins dinner. After the pooch was put back into the book, she's like, "Why, can you just take care of this?" And he eventually does. And she distracts Wyatt with little Jell-O cubes. She's like, "Here, eat these. You like Jell-O." Leo, Paige, and Phoebe return home, and they all agree that, okay, maybe we should go on a vacation. Maybe this is time. I'm having some stresses in my life. And this is where Elise tells Phoebe that she's going to have Spencer Ricks handle the column while Phoebe is gone. I'm like, Spencer Ricks?
No, nobody can do it like Phoebe can.
Nobody can do it like Phoebe can. And Spencer Ricks was that, chauvinistic douche guy that turned into a turkey. So
why is he back?
I don't know. Why would Elise hire him? So I have a little note about that at the end. I'm going to talk about it. But Spencer Ricks. Ooh, we don't like you, Spencer Ricks.
Ew.
So Paige proposes they go to Salem, Massachusetts to learn more about their witchy ways. And they're like, sure.
A lot going on. A lot of stress at home.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stress at home. Paige really needs. Paige only started temping and she already needs a vacation. It's funny.
I know.
I mean, same. You know, I understand the freelance life. So
Yeah, I mean, maybe she's just working to get enough money to go on vacation.
exactly. That's it. That's
Yep.
it. What do we work for if not for Xanax and vacations? Truly, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chapter 2. So the gang was driving to Salem after a nightmare day of wasted airport travel. They happen upon an odd bridge and a sign for a local B&B to rest for the night. It's called Yankee Bear. Phoebe and Paige enter to the counter and they overhear the owner, Ida Thornwood. Okay, Ida Thornwood is such like a mystical name
I know.
already. You already know
Seriously.
something's going down. So Ida Thornwood is arguing with her employee Nathaniel, and she's adamant about closing the inn for the next 3 days. But Ida agrees to let the group stay when she learns that they have a baby in the car. Because where will the baby go?
She's like, "Oh, you have a baby? I didn't know that. Fine."
Guess you can stay, even though we were just gonna do renovations because the pipes are frozen. No, I don't know. Okay. Ida's granddaughter, a young woman, Harriet. Oh, Harriet was my grandmother's name.
Aw.
I think it's a good old fashioned name.
Mm-hmm.
Harriet walks in and becomes silent and nervous upon seeing Phoebe and Paige. Ida says she's shy. Paige can't sleep, and she goes down to find Nathaniel coming back to grab his backpack. But Nathaniel tells Paige Ida does not like being called by her last name and closes the B&B 3 nights every month like clockwork.
Curious.
Ooh. There's so okay. I feel like in Charmed and in other magical shows, this is just an aside, but there are so many like glaringly obvious things that are like this person has a secret, has a magical past, has like somebody turns into a werewolf because they close something
Right.
3 days out of every whatever. Every time and every single time, the main character is like, no, it's
That doesn't mean
probably
anything.
nothing.
Exactly.
She's just a crazy old lady. I don't know. And it's like, Paige, you've been a Charmed one for a whole 2 seasons already. Come on. You know.
Yeah, get with the program.
Get with the program. But she won't. Instead, Paige chalks it up to an old lady oddity. So, whatever, Paige, it's your funeral. Paige grabs a pamphlet for a place called Mystic Knoll. That's the title of the book.
Whoa! Mystic Knoll!
I wonder if that's going to be important. Nathaniel asks if Paige is into the occult, as he is working toward a PhD in American folklore and is writing about the effects of local legends in a community. Nathaniel seems like an interesting guy. Paige has a little crush on Nathaniel, and Nathaniel says that people believe Mystic Knoll has some strange power, and then he leaves. Okay, so we've got a great setup here. We've got the mystical names, we've got the Mystic Knoll, we have Nathaniel dropping a bunch of little clues.
Mm-hmm.
So Paige heads back to her room, and she notices a swarm of suicidal bugs flying into the windows. Oh, that's
all these
horrible.
thumps, and then she looks at them and like just squishing. Yeah, it's gross.
Oh, disgusting. I would get out of there right away.
Yeah, like this is not normal.
I'd be out. And then Paige runs into Ida and inquires about the bugs. And Ida says Mystic Knoll makes wildlife go crazy sometimes. People too, maybe.
You know, who knows?
Oh my god. And that is the end of chapter 2.
Yes. One thing to note about Nathaniel is that he doesn't believe in any kind of magical stuff, but he's curious to see why people believe things. Or he's kind of a skeptic.
Okay.
So
that's really interesting. I feel like that sounds like a kind of guy I like wouldn't get along with.
Right.
You know? Because I'd be like, then why are you so obsessed with all this stuff?
Right. It's like, what are you getting at? Are you trying to
Yeah, what are
like
you getting out of it? And obviously, you just like want to study people and feel more superior than them because
exactly?
you don't believe any of this stuff, and they all must be
Yeah,
of a lower intelligence. I think
exactly.
that's
You want to
silly.
understand why people believe this stuff and then tell them they're wrong and shove it in their face. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Uh, can I ask questions to you
of
during this?
course, of
During the story?
course.
Okay. Do you believe in like any sort of occult or like supernatural stuff, or is it just like fun?
I've dabbled quite a bit
Oh
because
my
of this
god.
show. Because of this show. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like an active practitioner of anything, but I do believe in energies and I believe in will. And I've dabbled in things. I like tarot. So yeah, I'm into all that stuff.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I don't know nearly enough about it, and like my way into Charmed is very much just through like I love this show. It's so
Hmm.
fun. I have no expertise whatsoever, but I think it's so cool when people are like interested or like into stuff like tarot, um, or any sort of like astrology or things like that because
Hmm.
it's a whole knowledge system.
Yeah. I
It's so
mean,
cool.
it's so cool, and I like the idea of like getting into something bigger than yourself and finding like good things in it, and I don't know. So yeah, while I'm not like going to be going and doing spells every night under the full moon, I still I still think that it's something that exists and something that can be valid.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right, chapter 3. The next morning, the gang is having a carefree start to the day. Leo is in a swing with Wyatt. They're having some breakfast, drinking their coffee, having a good time. Everything seems good. Piper decides she wants to stay another day and relax. She wants to go antique shopping. She's looking for pieces of china that match Graham's sets that she already has. She's like, I want to find more that go with it.
Oh,
so
okay.
she's going antique shopping instead of going to Salem right away. She wants to hang out. Paige is excited. She's like, "Oh, if we're gonna stay, why don't I go check out this Mystic Knoll place?" And Nathaniel asked me to dinner, so maybe I'll go to dinner with him tonight. That'll be great. Phoebe's instincts tell her something isn't right. She's like,
Ooh, ding, ding, ding.
"Yeah, I'm feeling something in the air. I don't know." So Piper and Leo head out. They're gonna go shopping with Wyatt, and then Harriet comes back to grab their empty dishes, and I think they're eating some donuts. And Phoebe and Paige notice a bruise on her arm.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what is happening? What does this mean? Nathaniel comes by to see Paige. He's like, I was looking for you. And so Phoebe's like, I'm going to leave you two alone. I'll go check on Harriet and, get out of here for a minute. Harriet meekly tells Phoebe her grandpa bought the B&B in 1950, but he's dead now. just like
Okay.
that. Ida comes in and she's annoyed. She's like, "What are you doing in here?" She's like, "When are you guys gonna leave?" It's like,
Oh my
checkout.
god.
It's past checkout time. She just wants them out right away. Something is afoot. So some time passes in the day, and Harriet goes missing. And Phoebe joins Nathaniel to search for her in the woods.
Oh my god.
Like, I'll come with you to find her.
Wait, do
Nathaniel,
they have like a search party or anything? It's just them?
just them. I mean, so it's kind of a small, like off the beaten path, little
Okay.
B&B, and it's a very small town. Everybody knows everybody, and so, yeah, but it's just them like in this little cottage bed and breakfast thing. So, and then so Phoebe goes with Nathaniel in the woods to look for Harriet, and while they're walking, Nathaniel tells Phoebe that Harriet is sometimes prone to fits of erratic behavior and could hurt herself. So we need to
Oh
find her.
no.
Yeah. So, okay. So she has some kind of psychological thing going on. They found Harriet hiding by an old neighbor, and the neighbor is threatening her with a gun, calling her a freak.
Oh,
Horrible.
I hate
Horrible.
that.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so now I know what the town thinks of Harriet. Great.
Seriously.
When Harriet saw Nathaniel, she tried to run away, but he caught her. He ran to her, caught her, pinned her arms down, and then she just passes out.
Okay, so Nathaniel's been around the block a couple
Yeah,
of times.
yeah, he's been working for a few months. I think they said he's been working for a few months here, and he's kind of getting the ins and outs of what's going on. But he does kind of care for Harriet. He does have he does wants her well-being, best wishes
Has
thing.
like a soft spot.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Nathaniel carries carries Harriet back to the bed and breakfast. He doesn't believe in anything supernatural, but he has a theory that Mystic Knoll and the surrounding area has huge electromagnetic discharges. So he's into his science, you know?
Uh-huh. Okay, sure. So it's X-Files,
Yes,
basically.
yeah. So he thinks all like the weird bugs and the weird happenings are because of this frequent electromagnetic craziness happening.
Must be science.
Yes, must be science. He believes getting away from the area could cure Harriet, but Ida feels trapped in her life of running the inn and can't go anywhere else. So she's kind of like married into this. We learn more about it later, but she kind of married into this. She was forced to be married to a guy, and then he had the inn, and she ended up running it, and she's kind of like stuck living the life. She can't really get out.
Oh my God. Well, I wonder if we'll learn more about that later.
Perhaps, yes. Piper and Leo are at the checkout counter at the antique store. Piper found like these 3 goblets that match Graham's crystal, and she's like, "Oh yes, I'm gonna buy these. It's great." But the clerk, upon hearing that they are staying at the Yankee Bear, was taken aback. He's like, "Oh, you're staying there? That family's got some bad juju going on." So he tells Piper and Leo that Abigail Thornwood, so Abigail is Ida's daughter.
Right, Harriet's mom.
Yes. Abigail Thornwood and her father, Joshua, did not have a good relationship. Joshua refused to acknowledge his daughter because she was deranged and marked by evil, a birthmark that covered her face. So he's just like, she is evil, and he doesn't even talk to his daughter. And
It's awful.
Awful. There's so many horrible, like small. These I don't know. These small little villages always because I grew up in a city. I always think of like small towns as like crazy things happen, and I'm kind of afraid of that. So maybe that's why.
You're kind of right. You're kind of right. I grew up in a very small town, and like it wasn't like true crime, whatever that we know of. But there were definitely things happening that were like, oh my God, it's so screwed up.
Yeah.
No, I hate this.
Okay. But so he rejected his daughter. Joshua ended up hanging himself, though. Possibly. And the rumor is that he was bewitched by Abigail. So she was marked with the devil, and she made him hang himself.
Well, maybe if he had been nicer to her.
Right.
Oh my God.
Just acknowledge your daughter for once in your life, maybe? I don't know. And then Abigail died in childbirth at 19 when she gave birth to Harriet.
This is terrible.
Such a sad story. But that's the past. Piper was creeped out by the stories. Valid. I would be too.
Yeah.
And they left quickly. She's like, okay. Like, because initially the clerk was going to deliver them to the house, but it would cost like $20 extra. She's like, because he was like, we can deliver them, but going near that house, we don't know. And so she's like, fine, I'll take them myself.
Mm-hmm.
Piper and Leo and Wyatt spend some time in the nearby park now. They're just having a nice little family outing. And a toad jumped at Piper, startling her. But then she noticed other families screaming as the park began being swarmed by thousands of toads.
Oh my God. This is like the 10 plagues.
Really? You got the bugs, you got the toads?
The bugs like locusts. And then the frogs too. Oh my God.
Oh.
Wow. I didn't expect it to be so biblical.
These books surprise you, yeah.
Seriously. And I guess because it's a book and not an episode, they can go into so much more detail, all these backstories.
Sure.
Things. Okay. Chapter 4. So Phoebe observes the Mystic Knoll pamphlet, and she took in the photos of the monolithic boulder. Ooh, like 2001 Space Odyssey kind of thing. Phoebe noticed a flock of silent sparrows flying low and crashing into things, landing in the grass. Oh no! No, dead birds. That's a terrible sign.
Yeah.
And then Phoebe sees that another flock flew over the inn and dove into the chimney. This is horrifying.
Horrifying.
Oh my God. So Harriet runs out, fighting off the birds from attacking her. And Phoebe goes to help, but Ida beat her to it and gruffly tells her to leave them alone. Oh God, I hate this. Paige, and then meanwhile, Paige begins the tour of Mystic Knoll with the tour guide Tammy and 2 tourists.
I'm Tammy.
All right, Tammy, lead us through.
Yeah.
So Tammy leads the group, and she's commenting that the giant stones were an astronomical calendar, and then to an impressive village within it. Okay.
Okay.
So leading them to this
Yes.
village.
Yes.
Okay. So Tammy's leading them, and she tells them of a legend that the village is cursed. And then the tour is led into a cave. They turn off their flashlights, and the rocks begin to glow. That's fun.
Pretty. I would have been super pretty.
Oh God, have you ever done like cave exploration?
No, that would be.
Oh my
I never
God.
did.
It's so cool. I don't know. I would get really scared by it, but I just remember when I was younger in like biology class or something, we were all assigned different terrains to, research
Okay.
and talk about. And I had caves, which is like very goth, I think. And I just remember thinking how cool they were and how beautiful, and these whole like worlds of bioluminescence and
Right.
different sort of things that just like can't grow in any other climate. So I would be into this tour, I think.
Mm-hmm. This is part of all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Not into any of the like animals killing themselves
No.
at all, but glowing rocks, that's cool. Love
Sweet.
that.
Right.
So, oh no, they continue down a narrow pathway, and the tour is inundated with thousands of snakes.
Well, that took a turn. Yeah.
That took a hard left turn. So meanwhile, at a cafe, Piper and Leo wonder if Wyatt was responsible for the toads. Oh, because of the dog conjuring incident, I guess.
Yeah, and they mentioned, I didn't mention this, but in the first chapter, they also told that a week before he brought his like bathtub ducks to life. So he's been doing this.
Oh,
Yeah.
magical babies!
Mhm.
I could never deal with a magical baby. Speaking personally as a non-magical baby myself, I think I would have a very hard time with this.
It would be hard. Yeah.
Oh, so I understand any stress Piper and Leo feel. So at the cafe, Piper and Leo notice that the coffee they're getting is unnaturally hot and boiling. Oh my God. And we learned that a 40-year-old woman who
So this is another patron of the village, and she like is like sensitive about her teeth because they think she was cursed by Abigail to turn them black, and so she's
Oh my
like
God.
exits the cafe in a tizzy. And
Have you seen Practical Magic?
yes.
Oh my God. This reminds me of this so much. It sounds much more serious in this book, actually. It sounds a lot scarier, but it just reminds me of Practical Magic when the young daughters of Sandra Bullock's character like point the finger and they're like, I hope you get chicken pox. And everybody gets so scared.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of in that same vein, so I feel ya.
Very much so. Anyway, so yeah, the woman hurries out, and that's the end of chapter 4. All this wild plague, end of the world type stuff happening.
Yeah. What are your thoughts so far? What do you think is going to happen?
Oh my God. Okay, so obviously, like Harriet has some magical issues happening, I'm sure, and Ida wants to keep her confined to this place. They can't leave this place. I find it really interesting that Nathaniel is able to help and like knows things, but is still like X-Files about it and is like, it's science.
Right. It's odd.
That's very interesting to me. So I wonder what's going to happen with him. I think it is so dramatic. Like there are so many things happening right now. There's so much more than we would ever see in a single episode. This sounds like at least like 3 or 4 episodes because I feel like in episodes we just see like one thing or maybe 2 things to like indicate something is wrong.
Sure.
But here we've got like birds, insects, toads, snakes, the coffee boiling hot, the black teeth, like Harriet passing out, all of this stuff. So this is intense. This is overwhelming.
Of crazy.
Yeah. This is a lot.
Yeah. So, chapter 5, Phoebe has another encounter with Ida and her crusty attitude.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Crusty attitude.
Yeah, because she went to go help Harriet, and she's like, "Get out of here! You don't know anything." And she kind of peeks off in the distance, and she sees Harriet's kind of skin is peeling.
Oh, oh my god!
Adding more to the fire here. Yeah. Oh. So now it comes back to Paige, and they cut the tour short, obviously, because they didn't anticipate these snakes. So Tammy closes for the day. The other couples kind of get to the cars and they leave. And she offers to give Paige a ride back to the bed and breakfast. Tammy says this is the first time that we've had snakes, but she does remember a thick of poison ivy and a squirrel attack 20 years ago.
Squirrel attack. That would scare the shit out of me. No.
I've had a few experiences with squirrels.
Tell me.
Yeah. The first one, I was in 8th grade, and I was just like standing in like a group of my classmates, and a squirrel jumped out of the tree and then it landed on my shoulder and then ran away. I was like, "Whoa, where'd this squirrel come from?" I don't know why it did that. The second time was I was in college walking down the street, and this baby squirrel was like following me down the street, and I stopped to look at it, and then it crawled up my leg, and I was like petting it and stuff. I'm like, "Hi," and then I was with a bunch of girls, and they were like screaming like, "Ah, get out!" And I was just like, "This is so cute."
Oh my god, a baby squirrel.
Yeah, and then I'm like, "Okay, gotta go now," but it was still following me across the street. I'm like, "No, you're gonna get hit by a car." So I was a little concerned for a while. I had to just kind of run it so it wouldn't follow me.
Oh. I also have an experience with squirrels actually.
Okay.
When I was very young, I want to say I was like at like after school, daycare or something like that. And I remember I was on a playground and I saw a squirrel. And when I was younger, I definitely thought like I could be a witch or something. And I tried like to communicate with animals, just using my mind. And so I saw the squirrel, and it was a brave squirrel that wasn't like running away from me or anything. And I was like going closer to it, and I like, reached out my hand, and it bit me.
Oh no.
It's like, okay, you can come closer, but the hand, that's too much.
Yeah.
So I got bit by a squirrel.
Oh.
Yeah.
The last time I kind of got close to a squirrel, I was at my college. We had a bunch of squirrels around, and they're used to people. But I just sat there with my food, and it came up to my face. It was just looking me in the eyes, like right on my. I'm like, "Hi," and then eventually went away. But I was like, "This is intense."
They have no fear. They have no fear. Squirrels are so socialized that they're like, "Give me food or get out of here."
Exactly. Right.
Wow.
So interesting.
Anyway, squirrel attack. Okay.
Yeah, 20 years ago. So weird stuff was happening 20 years ago too. Interesting. Tammy fully believes that Abigail hexed the town, but died before she could remove it.
Yeah, I would say that's probably accurate.
She recollects how bad things would happen in school to kids who made fun of her. Every time people were mean to her, bad things happened to them. So I'm pretty sure it was Abigail. At a restaurant, Leo tells the story of magic people, the Tuatha De Danann, who moved into Ireland. Okay, so this is the second book. I think it was in Dark Vengeance. And it was the same author. Diana wrote Dark Vengeance as well. This is the second time she brought up Tuatha De Danann, which is, a real magical people.
You must have like Celtic background or something.
And I think that's what they named Tuatha the witch after too. So
yeah, I was going to say Tuatha is a very recognizable name.
It's like that rings a bell. Yeah.
Was that the witch who had been like frozen in time in this mountain, or like cursed into this mountain, was let out? Yeah, the redhead.
Yes.
Ireland. I remember her well. I remember a very revealing outfit.
Oh yes. Very pronounced bosom.
Very pronounced bosom, yes. As I aspire to someday. So thank you for your service, Tuatha.
Yes.
I didn't know that came from a magical people.
Yeah. So you can look, there's like in history books and stuff, you can look up information about them. They actually existed.
That's really cool.
Phoebe and Paige realized Harriet's skin shed like the snakes were doing. When Phoebe saw her skin peeling, that happened at the same time that the snakes showed up.
Bum, bum, bum.
And that she was bashing her head on the wall when the bugs hit the windows.
Oh my god!
Oh, this is frightening. This is terrifying stuff. So at the cafe, for a brief moment, all the metal in the restaurant was magnetized. So Piper's keys were like clinging to her bracelet, and like all like the coffee pot was clinging to the tables. Like, what is going on?
What?
Yeah. So it only lasts for like a very brief amount of time, but it still was like strange.
Is Harriet the X-Men? Is that what
Maybe.
Magneto?
Nathaniel. Okay, so yeah, this is at dinner time. So this is when the night that Paige was supposed to have dinner, but the whole family decided to go to the restaurant too. So that's what this is.
Okay.
I mean, she ended up splitting off with Nathaniel afterwards, but they're still at the same restaurant. Nathaniel arrives and Paige is like, "Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys. I'm gonna go to dinner with him." And then while they talk, Nathaniel still refuses to acknowledge any true magical occurrences and is adamant that there are scientific explanations.
That's like bad science at this point, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Because you're ignoring so much evidence.
Exactly.
Come on, Nathaniel.
Exactly. Come on, get with it. Nathaniel tells Paige that Joshua was cruel and made Ida do all the work. So he's going back into their family history. So yeah, he was kind of a cruel guy. She was forced to marry him, and yeah, he married and he made Ida do everything for the resort and just kind of bummed around. So she wanted to have a daughter to kind of help support her, but then her daughter ended up being cruel and angry too. So yeah, he says that Ida likes to close the 3 days of the new moon because Harriet's fits are worse then.
Sounds magical to me.
Yeah. And then Nathaniel drops Paige off at the Yankee Bear, ends the date with a handshake, and is suddenly in a hurry to get away.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Paige
Definitely
is like,
realistic.
yeah,
I
what
mean,
did I do?
It sounded like a pretty bad date if like those are the topics of conversation.
Yeah, because they're talking about magic, and I think he got a sense. I mean, he got a sense of what Paige was really thinking, and he's like, I don't like this.
Yeah. Okay, fine, Nathaniel, your loss.
Yeah. Chapter
6. So Phoebe and Paige are determined to unravel the mystery, and Piper concedes. I think it's always true. It's always true. Piper is always like, "Oh my god!" Like,
this again.
I wanted to go antique shopping. Like, why is this happening again?
Right.
God. Phoebe decides to go inquire about Harriet's father since no one ever mentioned him. Paige will stay at the inn. Why? I don't know. Piper is going to look for books for Leo since she recently blew them up in the closet. Yeah, sounds right. Okay, at the bookstore, Leo gives the clerk a list of what he's looking for. Very smart. The clerk, named Brad, what a name, gives Wyatt a giant green worm fish lure to play with. Sounds like a very bad idea. Brad talks with them about Abigail and how he doesn't believe she was magic, just a victim of being an outcast, and people like to assume. Okay, so Brad is like kind of trying to be nice about this, but you know what? Outcasts and magic, they go hand in hand.
They do.
So suddenly all the fish in the nearby aquarium jump out. No, that's awful. I don't like how there's so much animal suicide in this.
Well, these fish survive. These fish
they
survive.
do.
Because this pretty much this in the bookshop, he has a little aquarium in his bookshop, and they jump out, and he's like, "Help me, get them!"
Oh, okay. Oh my god, I was picturing like a local aquarium or something.
Oh no.
Okay. So Piper was afraid that it was Wyatt, and she was too late to freeze the scene. Apparently, this has happened before, though, so it's not Wyatt. And they helped gather the fish back into the tank. Phew.
Yeah.
Phoebe went to check the offices of the local newspaper, the Clarion Clarion. Very Irish.
Yeah.
Phoebe was allowed to go through the microfiche equipment. That's how you know it's getting serious.
Yeah.
When you go through the microfiches and you look at all the old newspapers.
What can I find out? Yes.
I love that. I would love to be an investigator on one of these shows and just like find all the mysteries of the town through the microfiche. Apparently, the day before Joshua hung himself, Abigail told him he should break his neck. Bummer. Should have been nicer to your kid. She finds that Lucas Barnes, star quarterback and heartthrob, was seen with Abigail 9 months before Harriet's birth, but he never admitted to being the father. Classic. That's a classic.
Yeah.
Sad story. Phoebe finds Lucas's address in the phone book, goes there. Oh my God, you're just going to show up? Yeah. And when he answers the door, she tells him that she'd like to talk about Abigail, and Lucas slams the door in her face.
I mean,
yeah.
That's what you would do. I mean, who's the stranger talking to me about this girl that I don't want to be connected to?
Seriously. Oh my God.
And he's got a whole new family and wife and stuff in this point too as well. So yeah.
No, doesn't want this family to know about his past.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Also, Phoebe and Paige, not Piper, I think, but Phoebe and Paige just have a habit of showing up on doorsteps of people being like, "Hi, do you remember your long lost like daughter that you never talk about?
Yeah,
this is her ring," or something like that. And they're like,
"Terry Lane, here's your bracelet." Yeah,
here's your bracelet. Excuse me.
They're just meddlers.
They are. That's exactly what they are. They're so nosy. Charmed is not about the power of 3. It's just about being nosy.
Yeah.
So Paige runs into Nathaniel elsewhere, and he admits that he lost interest in her when he realized she believed in the possibility of magic. Wah, wah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Nathaniel, you're lost. Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So chapter 7. The sisters and Leo try to determine if they need to help Harriet and if her grandmother is a tyrant. Because Phoebe's like, this old lady is just kind of mean to her. I don't know if is she in danger here with Ida? I don't know. So they're trying to just sort everything out and like, does this make sense? Paige orbs to check the Book of Shadows. So yeah, she orbs back home for a moment to check the Book of Shadows, to see if Mystic Knoll is in there. And then Leo goes to the elders. Both return with no info, so it's kind of pointless.
Great. Very helpful.
Yeah. Ida comes by their cabin to deliver their bill, anxious to get them out. She's like, okay, here's your bill. Time to go. Leo comes back, and he reminds us that eclipses mask magical activities, and that tomorrow there will be one. This part is weird to me because Paige looks into a Bible to find important dates from family members, including Harriet's birthday. I was like, why do they keep saying Bible? Why would the Bible have any family birthdays in it? I was very confused.
Maybe it was like
were they hiding?
No idea, but maybe it was like written. It was like a family Bible or something.
Okay. Yeah.
They like kept important dates. I don't know. I'm Jewish, so like we don't. I feel like the Bible would be like special in the household, and you wouldn't like just put shit in there.
Or they just put pieces of paper in there. It was very strange. Maybe the wording they were used was incorrect.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, why are they talking about Bibles and finding dates in a Bible? I don't know. It was very odd to me.
All right. Sure.
But they find that Harriet's birthday was May 19th, 1985. And so she was 19 at the time. So I believe when this book came out, I was like 17. So I was like, oh, I'm 2 years younger than Harriet. Phoebe goes on the internet with her laptop, and she finds that the last solar eclipse was in 1985, a month before Harriet was born.
Oh, sneaky.
Things are coming together. The sisters go to check on Harriet's room. Phoebe asks if she could come in, and Harriet goes hysterical, yelling, no! And then starts throwing things about.
Oh my God.
So the door is locked, so they can't get in. Paige decides to orb into the room and try to calm Harriet down. But as she orbs into the room, Ida is coming up the stairway and sees her orbs out. And then Harriet sees her orb in, so they are witnessing this magic now.
Uh-oh.
Piper freezes Ida right away. She's like, oh no, we gotta, okay. So she freezes her. And then in the room, Harriet is in a frenzy, pulling her hair out, going crazy after she saw Paige orb around. Paige grabs Harriet, intending to orb her out, but then notices that her toenails have grown to look like talons, and that the key that was locked to the door was from the inside, so she locked herself in. And so that's
She's
even
trying
more
to protect
curious.
people.
Yes.
Oh
Whoa. Oh
no.
no.
Oh no. Okay, classic monster, human to monster here.
Yeah.
Trying to protect people from your dangerous self.
Mm.
Okay. So, chapter 8, Harriet runs out of her room and notices her frozen grandmother, and Piper freezes Harriet too. Paige informs Piper and Phoebe about Harriet's talons in the lock on the inside door. Okay, so we're gearing up for something big.
Yep.
Piper unfreezes Ida and she's ready to fight. And Piper recognizes a maternal instinct to protect Harriet. Oh. Piper unfreezes Harriet, and Ida immediately comforts her. It's clear that they actually love each other.
So sweet.
That is very sweet. I like that better.
Yeah.
But Harriet goes back to her room and believes she's being cursed for her mother's actions. Ida admits that she knows Abigail used magic to hurt those who hurt her. She used the stones of Mystic Knoll to augment her power, and she did kill her father with Svengali evil hypnotism. Oh, shit. Okay.
Crazy.
Abigail cursed her daughter a month before she was born to be an instrument for her revenge. No!
No.
I hate that. Kids, I feel very strongly about this. I know that, like, obviously this is a fantasy book.
Yeah.
But I just feel very strongly that, like, even in real life, but also in fiction, it's like kids should never bear the brunt of their parents' problems because kids did not ask to be in the world. And it's, come on, parents. Like, you know, this kid is not the cause of your problems.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever. It's fine. We're in a magical revenge plot right now. So Ida shows them Abigail's diary, and Phoebe gets a vision. She sees Abigail perform a spell at Mystic Knoll on the eclipse, and then a second vision of Harriet being born. She looked like a lizard with bat wings and fangs and talons. Oh, I bet she's cute, though.
Super cute. Kind of like Bat Boy.
Monster. Oh. Harriet was cursed to transform into a Jersey Devil. Jersey Devil? What is that? I don't know what that is.
Apparently it's a mythological thing in lore and everything, but that's what they called her, a Jersey Devil. I should look that up.
That's so funny. So like a New Jersey Devil, but no, it's not it.
Well, I think it is based off something in New Jersey. Yeah. In the southern New Jersey and Philadelphia folklore of the United States, the Jersey Devil is a legendary creature said to inhabit the forest of Pine Barrens in South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations.
Oh my god. So maybe I could see this if I took a trip across the bridge.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know
Okay.
if I see a Jersey Devil. I'll try not to, though, actually. I don't think I'm going to. So, oh god, so Harriet was cursed. Piper calls for Leo and he orbs in with Wyatt. No, get that kid out of here.
I know. This is no place for him right now.
Piper. The group go over what they know, and they're determined to stop Harriet's transformation the next day and save the innocent people who will be Abigail's victims, even after her death.
I know.
Ba-ba-bum.
From beyond the grave.
Beyond the grave. Post-mortem terror. It came from beyond. Yeah, this is really fucked up. If I were Harriet, God.
Yeah,
so
like what would
awful.
you do? Like you feel like you have no control of your body, and you know you're forced. Ugh, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, that's so terrible. Oh my god, I feel for Harriet so much.
Yeah. So chapter 9, the gang takes shifts supervising Harriet. So she's like sleeping now, chilling out, but they'll kind of watch her throughout the night to keep an eye on her, you know, as good people do. Phoebe has been reading Abigail's diary, and she is also selected to write a curse reversal. So she's like, okay, I found the spell. I heard the spell that she used in the premonition, so I can find a way to kind of reverse it. Piper, Phoebe, and Ida dealt with a swarm of mice.
Oh no!
Yeah, so this was a kind of a throwaway scene, but it was also kind of a fun sister moment because like a mouse lands on Phoebe's head and they're like, oh, going after the mice. And I'm like, get him! And like,
Oh my god.
it's just a kind of a goofy scene, but it was fun. Uh, the next morning, Leo leaves with Wyatt. Yeah, so they go away now. She's like, I'm going to get
Good.
him out of here. Good. Nathaniel comes to the inn, and he and Paige share passive-aggressive and flippant small talk.
Yeah, that's right, Nathaniel.
Yeah, you know what you did.
You know what you did. You ignored every bit of evidence.
Yes.
And then you basically dismissed a very smart woman. So,
Yep.
whatever, Nathaniel.
Whatever. Ida shoos Nathaniel off. Good. Harriet abruptly felt a compulsion to go to Mystic Knoll. Phoebe tries to stop her, but was thrown across the room. Harriet crashes through the window and runs off. So she's kind of like feeling the effects of this transformation thing, and her like spell or whatever, the curse is like forcing her to leave. Oh
no.
Yeah. Paige orbs Ida and her sisters to the cavern in Mystic Knoll because they figure like this is where she's gonna come. Let's meet her here. They decide they have to let Harriet begin to enact the curse and let things play out a bit before they can take action to reverse it. So they kind of like hide in the crevices of the cavern and like wait for her to show up. Harriet appears and she has already transformed significantly since they last saw her. So they say like reptile like eyes, and she's got like crazy like scales and like bird wings, and yeah, it's crazy. And so in the cavern there's like these red like lightning bolts like let's thrown around, and that's supposed to represent free magic. So that's something that she can absorb to make herself more powerful and bring the curse to fruition.
Oh my god. This reminds me, oh my god, this reminds me of so many like magical, practical magic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But right now it's reminding me of WandaVision.
I mean, WandaVision's great.
Yeah, but like the like red storm cloud thing where like what's her name? Agatha is like absorbing Wanda's magic.
It's kind of that same imagery. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm picturing.
Cool. I like it. I think it works. As Harriet begins to absorb the free magic in crimson lightning, the sisters get caught in the stream and are pinned to the walls.
No!
Oh, Harriet starts to chant and her final transformation takes hold. She's like this massive dragon, seahorse, reptile, bird creature. And
cool.
so she's got like a seahorse head and dragon wing. It sounds pretty crazy and cool. So I don't know. The roof of the chamber blew open and she flies out of it and escapes.
Okay. Honestly, like a lot of the stuff in this does sound horrifying, but this does sound pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Chapter 10. She's free! Harriet roars and flies out of the opening. The charmed ones believe that since the power of 3 was now added to the magic Harriet's absorbed, they are most certainly needed to reverse it. Yes, they are. And they need to get her back to the cavern. They figure that they're going to have to gather some of Abigail's enemies as bait. Ooh. I love it. I love bait. Love a bait storyline. Piper stays and tries to figure out how to tap into the power of Mystic Knoll safely. Oh my god. I love it whenever Piper like gets extra power.
Yeah.
I will say that. Like in Oh My Goddess, for
example.
Yes.
Ooh.
Because I feel like she's like the most grounded out of everyone. So whenever she does get this like extra power, it's like, I don't know, it's just very exciting.
A sense of calmness and confidence, and just like her air is like really satisfying to watch. I think. Yeah.
Very satisfying. Exactly. Yeah. You get it.
Mm-hmm.
So Paige orbs Phoebe back to the Yankee Bear. What kind of a name is that, by the way?
I know. I don't even know where it came from. It's very strange.
Yankee Candle. And then tracks Harriet down, noting that she was targeting individuals from Abigail's past. Paige makes sure that they are saved. Phoebe tells Ida what happened, and she could see the grief in her eyes. Ida is afraid that Abigail has won, but Phoebe tells her it's not over yet. Phoebe contacts a list of individuals that can be used as bait. Oh my god. And gets them to agree to come to Mystic Knoll by whatever means necessary.
Shady.
I would not.
I would not.
Never. I would get very far out of there.
Yeah.
You can't convince me, Phoebe.
Gosh.
Piper and Paige test stepping into the Knoll's magical field. They begin to surge with electricity and magic, but Piper soon breaks the connection. She doesn't think they will survive trying to use it when it counts. Oh, it's getting down to the wire.
Yeah, this is the last chapter now. So everyone arrives at Mystic Knoll, including Lucas, Harriet's father, and the skeptic Nathaniel. So all of the bait people have come. They're like, I'm going to see what's going down. And they gave all these weird excuses. I forget what she said, but everyone has their own reason for being there. Phoebe does feel some guilt that she brought all these people here and put them in danger under false pretenses. I'm like,
Yeah, you better.
yeah, I'm like, this is really crappy what you did.
Phoebe.
Crystals were placed around the chamber. Innocents were outside of the crystal cage, and then the sisters were kind of inside waiting. Harriet arrives and they trap her. The Charmed Ones recite a spell and it begins to turn Harriet back, but before it completes, a new essence takes control of the beast, and it's Abigail. So Abigail's like spirit or consciousness is in this beast now.
Oh my god.
A scuffle ensued, and they recited again. This time the monster is gone. So Harriet is herself again. And Harriet is now freed of the curse and is reunited with Ida. Lucas held Harriet's hand in silence, but has learned to accept her.
Oh.
So being the father, that's good. Phoebe convinces Nathaniel he imagined the dragon creature. Because he's like, you don't believe in magic anyway, so here's, you just kind of imagined this. That's some crazy things.
You hit your head.
He's like, that makes sense.
Oh my god.
Everyone agrees to skip the Salem part of their vacation and head straight for the beach. And then Ida allows the girls and Leo to stay at the inn one more night at no charge. So thank you for helping me, and that's the end.
I love this note that they're skipping Salem. They're like, we don't want to encounter any more cursed magical energy. We just want to go to the beach.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wise decision.
That was horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I didn't read this all in one day. So when you lay it all out there, I'm like, oh, that is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. If you read it, over time, then it's like, oh, it makes sense. It's a book. Like, you expect a lot of things to happen. But imagining it as an episode or like right now consumed all at once is like, oh my God, this is the worst shit ever. It's awful. I'd have to lie down for a year.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to find my bearings here.
Oh God.
So anything you liked or disliked?
Well, okay. I'm not a horror person, so I hated all of that. I hated all of the suicidal bugs and things like that. I do always find it interesting where there's, magic is always kind of a metaphor for a lot of things. And this magic, this generational trauma basically manifesting in the form of this matrilineal line is really interesting. Because obviously, Ida was treated really badly, and forced to bear the brunt of all this work and feeling trapped. And probably her unhappiness and her just total lack of any satisfaction or gratefulness from anyone else. Ida's unhappiness and her mistreatment and it sounds like arranged marriage and being dragged into running this inn is what formed Abigail.
Yeah.
Essentially this this mark of Satan or whatever, but spawn of Satan. But it very much sounds like it was the product of the environment of her own mother hurting so much, and then obviously her father torturing her and not acknowledging her. So of course she's going to turn into this devil creature. And then her own daughter, again, of course, is going to have to actually bear the brunt of that 3 generations of suffering.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It's so horrible. Yeah.
It's terrible. I do think that it's always really important, I think, to see these storylines and not just think oh, what a terrible mother, but actually think oh my God, what about the environment that these people were born into and how they were treated, and thinking about his grandfather who died in the 1950s. Like that was a tough era.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really tough era to be in an abusive. I mean, it's always a terrible thing to be in an abusive relationship, but like to have even less power societally and like within a marriage and within the eyes of this small town, like, whew, that's hard. So
Heavy.
really heavy. So even though it's all these like fantastical, magical things happening, all because of Abigail, like I'm glad that they included Ida's story too, because I think it gives more of an understanding to like everyone was treated really badly.
Yeah.
So
And
it's not just a bad mother creating like foisting her revenge on her daughter. That's also what's happening, but it's like everyone in this town created this monster.
yeah, and Ida's kind of like trapped in here, and she's like, Harriet's the one person that she finds any kind of comfort and like affiliation with. And it's like, oh, I don't know.
Oh,
It's just really beautiful and sad, and
it really is. And I do like this like I mean, I think that the charmed ones are always going on this journey in some shape or form, but I do like this kind of resolution of all the inherited trauma and like cleansing so somebody can be themselves.
truly,
Like
yeah.
this is not my deal. Be gone.
Yeah, I thought the general pacing of the book was strong because there was enough creep factor, and like the series of events and gradual revelations were really, really kind of engaging. Uh,
Mhm.
but I don't like some of the ways. I don't like the end game. The climax was a little quick for me.
Yeah. It feels kind of rushed.
Yeah. And I'm a bit sad that they made Abigail like, they say that Abigail was born wicked, like, because I sympathize for this girl who was like ignored by her father and like mocked at school and tormented because she had a birthmark and stuff. So the fact that they made her just like this awful sociopath from the start, like they say that she was like that from the beginning, it was like, I don't like that because that's almost saying like that's okay to mistreat and bully people because they're
Yeah.
different.
I agree. I agree. I think that it like makes sense as that metaphor, but I think it's like why would you have her be born evil?
hmm
Yeah.
It would make more sense if they went like the carry route, when like it's like a good girl who was pushed too far,
Yeah.
versus someone who's just automatically bad. So,
Totally. Although I will say that I do really enjoy like an evil character,
oh, of course.
like a truly evil character. But this one is wrapped up in like so much tragedy. And it's like and like you said, these like excuses to mistreat her and bully her. Like I think about a character like Tammy,
Yeah,
like being like, well, like she sounds like she was a town gossip. Well,
sure.
you know that anyone who was mean to her got, had misfortunes happen to them. So she's a bad person. I do think about that, and I'm like, okay, Tammy.
Yeah,
Obviously, you guys were pretty mean.
exactly. Yeah, and it's like it's kind of glorifying the bullies and giving them permission to say it's okay to do that. I don't like that. That bothered me.
Yeah. Ah, that's really interesting. Good
Yeah,
point.
yeah. And I thought for sure that there'd have some other explanation for all these rumors, because everyone's been hearing all these rumors about Abigail, and like every one of them was true. I thought there would be like another element to it or something that we don't know, but it's pretty much exactly what they heard. So
I just think about Nathaniel in that, and I'm like, literally everyone in the town knows all of these rumors. There are wild, mysterious circumstances happening. You've seen with your own eyes, like how uh unnatural, all the wildlife is and stuff. And you still want to be like, oh my God, everybody's wrong.
yeah,
Literally every single person is wrong. And I, an outsider getting my PhD, I'm right.
exactly. I can just see
Okay,
him
go
writing
ahead.
a book and it just be the most asinine thing ever. Like,
Yeah, I'm so sure. It does make me think of, okay, this is a very like nerdy thing, but when I was in college, there was this department called cultural ethnography, which is basically like outside people like Nathaniel coming into a community and studying them and like interviewing them or just like observing them and creating a history and publishing and getting famous off
Yeah.
of their documentation. But of course a lot of this like cultural ethnography was happening from people from Europe or the United States, like, or a Western world going into the global South or like Asia, Africa. So going somewhere that more kind of imperialist countries considered to be third world countries, right?
Yeah.
So they would be coming in as total outsiders, complete outsiders, and they would assume that because they were scholars, they knew how to document a place's culture and history better than the place itself. So obviously we know that that is entirely wrong, and unfortunately that's what most of our textbooks are made up of, are people from the outside coming in and being like, actually everybody is wrong. And I just know that there is so much of Nathaniel, like there are so many Nathaniels out there.
Yeah.
Just historically will come into a place and be like, all of your traditions and all of your beliefs are actually incredibly wrong. And you know what it is? It's science.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I just wonder how much has been lost or how much has been like dismissed because of a Nathaniel recording a history and writing their book.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's super sad. But it's
wow, so
true.
sad.
It's like that's what's happening. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it made me think of that. So my biggest takeaway from this is like, fuck Nathaniel. I hate him.
I do too. Really. I wish the final showdown would have been like more like them going into the mystical field, absorbing the power to get that thing, but then they would have to like race against the clock to be able to use the power quick enough so that they wouldn't die in the process. That would have been a much better
Oh,
climax. That's what I was hoping would happen.
yeah. Oh, you're so right.
Fighting off the attacks of the beast while in this powered up mode, but then, can't stay there too long or you get killed. Oh, that would have
Yeah.
been more exciting, I think.
I think you're really right. Definitely.
So
It was too short.
yeah,
It was too
it was
short.
just
Not enough stakes.
Ida and Harriet, authentic and sentimental, very nice. I think that was one of my favorite parts of the book was their relationship, actually.
Oh yeah.
I thought the Wyatt moments, even though they were kind of brief, they were pretty adorable. He was doing like making cute noises and doing powerful things, and
Aw.
oh, what's interesting, when Piper was going on the hunt for books after she blew up his books, Leo's books, that's something that happened in one of Diana Gallagher's previous books. So she's kind of tying it back in.
Oh.
It was in, I think it was it Mist and Stone? She blew up his
Oh my
books.
God.
So
I love that. I love that little detail.
Yeah, I'm like, that's kind of cool. So that's all for that. Then we have Put That in My Canonical Hat.
Canonical.
So this is where we're talking about if there's anything that stands out as reminding you of something from the show, or if there's anything that's blaring you that's not accurate that you could think of. And if you would like this to be an episode in general.
It's hard for me to imagine this as an episode, I will say, because it feels like a bottle episode. Like, it feels like something that happens outside the scope or the timeline of the show, and it's just like it doesn't have any effect on the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like, because they're like going on vacation, they're going to a different place. Not having something set in San Francisco always feels like, what are we doing to me? I think that, I mean, the magical babies that always makes me think of the show. I feel like Wyatt conjuring things out of books is very, very canon. Because he conjures his big dragon friend out of the TV.
Yeah.
So that is definitely something that reminded me of it. I think it seems like they got their personalities down like pretty, traditionally pre in character with the rest of their their characters.
Diana is usually really good about that. She knows the sisters' like voices really well. Yeah.
It definitely seems like it. And I do think that, was it Piper who was like, this is too much. This is going to be too much power.
Yeah.
that's very in character. Definitely. So I think like the characters were correct. I don't really think I'd need to see this as an episode. I think there was just too much stuff going on for me to really imagine it as that. But what I think it would be is like a reference that would happen in an episode of like, oh, well, when we tried to go on vacation,
Right, yeah.
you remember when that happened? Yeah, you're right. We should just go to the beach.
Yeah.
That's what I think would show up in the canon of the show.
Yeah. I mean, everything in this book does play out for a really nice supernatural thriller. Like, it's interesting, but I don't know. You're right. I don't know if it fits. Like, I don't know if I need it.
Yeah.
So
The tone too, yeah, that you mentioned, supernatural thriller. I feel like it's way darker and like scarier than most of the show.
yeah, right. It's like change. It's almost like a different show.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Some things that I thought, just like throwaway things I noticed. I said Paige doesn't start temping until season 6, but I mentioned that. If they knew Wyatt was bringing his tub ducks and storybook dogs to life this early, then they would have caught the dragon thing a lot faster than they did.
Yes.
So that's something that would have, they would have been like, oh, I expected this. I would not let you watch TV unattended. There we go. Paige hovers as a result of her potion, but it's interesting because we know, like, Leo hovers, White Lighters can hover. They do get that ability. Paige never does that in the show except for one time. She sees like that dream sequence in season 8, The Young and the Restless, where she's like floating in the blue orbs.
Oh yeah.
That's the only time we ever see her hover. But I mean, I would think that it's something that could happen to her, just never happened in the show.
Yeah.
Be too close to Phoebe's levitation too.
Oh, that's true. I feel like we didn't really get a lot of Phoebe in this.
No.
As much as Paige or Piper.
Yeah. Phoebe didn't really have any like attachment to anybody. She was just kind of like on the sidelines doing her own thing, doing her investigations, and so she was like kind of recycling everybody as leftovers.
Yeah.
Here, go back to Spencer Ricks, because at this point in the show, he would be their competitor because he was with another competing advice column paper,
right?
And so they do reference House Call when they were competition, but now that he's hired on to write for Phoebe, it seems like a weird move.
Yeah,
but maybe
I feel like that was just a name drop.
Yeah, just to say I watched the show.
Yeah, but did you? I don't think you actually did, because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, although in season 6, Elise does hire him to work with Phoebe for like a shared column. So maybe it's a precursor to their cooperation, Soul Survivor. But that was awful. Like, why would you even? Why would you even like fathom a guy like him? I don't know why.
I didn't like that.
Yeah. All Hallows Eve is mentioned when they talk about Salem. So cool. Paige thought
favorite episode.
Of course, great episode. Paige thought the wildlife in Mystic Knoll reminded her of being a nymph, so they referenced the nymph, so we know it's after that. The manor rebuilt in 1906 after the earthquake was mentioned. The fact that eclipses mask magic, we learned that from Magic Hour. And then they have lore of memory dust, which is mentioned accurately. So there's just a lot of random things that I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. So not too many offenses. Most of it's just right stuff, so that's good. Now we'll do rhyme time.
Should we try a spell?
Why not? Let's try a spell.
In the wind, I sing this rhyme. Bring death before me, before my time.
You've really got to lay off the rhyming, Prue.
Wonderful. Witty, but wordy.
I did the rhyme. I will do the time. Good night.
So we'll read the spells. These spells are weird because they're all variations of themselves. So they're all like practically the same thing with a few words changed.
Oh, okay. Okay. Abigail's curse. Cast from creatures of the night, fang and claw, leather and flight. 2 times 10 shall pass before they know my vengeance. Hear us roar.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I mean, it's a nice little rhyme. I don't know how I feel about it though.
It's fine. I think it's funny that it's leather. Like, where's that coming? Okay.
Leather.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
Kinky.
It is. Like, I don't remember. I mean, cowhide or bat wings, or I don't know what she's
I
thinking of.
guess.
And this is the next one, is to enact Abigail's curse. This is the one that Harriet did while she was like transforming, or to transform. Cast from creatures of the night, fang and claw, leather and flight. 2 times 10 has passed the core of her vengeance waits no more.
Okay, so 2 times 10 happened.
Yeah,
Great.
so yeah, 20 years passed.
20 years.
Yeah.
All right, you're right. They're just totally the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Now you can read the reversal spell. The power of 3.
3 spell to break Abigail's curse. Be gone, cursed creature of day-night, fang and claw invoked by spite. 2 times 10 has now passed. The child will be herself at last.
You know, it's awkward. Like the rhymes are in the right spot, but it's still awkward to me.
It doesn't have the right number of syllables.
Yeah.
This reminds me of like when Paige did haiku.
Yes.
She's like, what? It worked.
All right, so now we'll do best baddie.
You can't run! Frozen! In fear! Best baddie!
What I do with this section is I take like a chunk of books. So I'm dealing with like a set of 11 right now, and I kind of rank the bad guys from every one of the books.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say where Abigail is in the lineup. Abigail in my lineup is number 9 out of 13 so far. Because Abigail was more of just like a background player doing her. I mean, it is kind of cool that she's like still doing stuff beyond the grave. But I've kind of felt more bad for her than I should have.
Yeah.
What is this, some kind of game?
Grimoire Games!
Some people think this is entertainment.
Grimoire game, and it's called One of These Things Is Not Like the Other.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 4 names, and you just have to kind of figure out the connection and which one doesn't belong.
Oh no. Okay.
I have Nicholas from that 70s episode, Drazi from Heartbreak City, Anton from Pardon My Past, and Devlin from Used to My Ears. So can you find a connection between them?
Oh my god. No?
Do you remember who they all are?
No, I never remember. I remember the episodes.
Okay.
Devlin is the only guy who is dealing with Paige and not Prue.
Right. I guess that's true.
You know, that's too easy though, I think. It's not like the definite thing. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. I know. I stumped you. So pretty much the connection is they all deal with jewelry.
Oh. Ugh.
And one of them does not use a ring. But
okay, so Devlin uses a ring. The guy from that 70s episode uses a ring. I've already forgotten his name.
Nicholas.
Cupid uses a ring too, right? No,
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's well, that's only one left.
So, what does that leave us with for the odd one out?
Wait, sorry. Okay. I'm so bad at this.
I know, I'm making you think real hard.
So it was Drazi, Devlin. Who was the one on that 70s show?
Nicholas.
And then the last one,
Anton.
What did Anton even? Oh, he was the lover. Oh, he died too.
Yeah, he did.
But he wasn't even like I don't remember him being magical or anything. I just remember he was like they were just on different sides. He was like Bonnie and Clyding with Phoebe. That's just it.
Yeah. So yeah, Anton was the odd man out. Pretty much everyone uses a ring except for him. He has the amulet that he puts on Phoebe.
Oh my god.
I know.
Ah! I have such a bad memory, apparently. But also, I will say that I'm never focusing on the guys. Like I never think about the guys. I'm only thinking about the charmed ones because they're
Yeah,
so much more interesting to me.
sure.
So this is proving that to me again. I'm just like, who? I don't
Who
whatever.
are these
I don't
people?
know.
Yeah, who are these people? All right, the final thing before we close is tips for future white lighters.
I was out being a force of good in the universe.
What's the moral that we learned from this book? What could we, what's our takeaway?
Ooh. What I would say, I feel like it could be twofold. There could be two kind of roads I would go with this. But I do think my biggest one is just you don't have to rely on somebody who comes from a place of like academic authority in order to tell you like what's wrong or right about your own life. That's what I'm thinking about the most, is that like more than you think, and certainly more than other people tell you you know.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a recurring notion in this book that people will still choose to cling to their beliefs even when evidence and facts prove opposite. And yeah, I do think it's admirable to like stand in the face of adversity and believe in something bigger than yourself. That's a beautiful thing. But when you are straight up denying legitimate evidence and creating your own alternate facts, especially when it affects more than you, it can be quite harmful and dangerous. So stop doing that.
Yeah.
Very appropriate in today's, political climate, So
Absolutely. Have some perspective. Like step outside of yourself for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the other people you might be affecting or dismissing.
Yeah.
There you go, white lighters.
There you go. Tell people where they can follow you and find all the good stuff you do.
Yes, all the good stuff. All the silly stuff I do. So you can find my podcast. I guess that's the most relevant thing. We're on Instagram. We never post, but we do. When we do, it's really silly. So you can find us at Charmed Spellcast on Instagram. We're just called Charmed Spellcast, and we're all over Spotify, Apple, Google Play, wherever you want to find us. SoundCloud. My favorite is SoundCloud, actually. There we are. And you can find me personally at Bernadette Teeters. It's like Bernadette Peters, but it's a silly play on it. Teeters. If you want, I guess, just lots of gay nonsense and movie recommendations and yelling about the state of the world, any of those platforms. That's pretty much it.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad you came on. I had a great time talking to you.
I had such a good time. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. This was a great time. Yay!
Yay!
So I guess you can find the podcast, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Words of the Witches, and then Twitter, Words of Witches. And then I have another podcast with Sean where we're kind of watching the later seasons. We're just started season 8.
Oh.
That's called Hanging with the Hallowells. Or KGZ87 if you want to find my personal one. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So see you in 2 weeks. Your destiny still awaits.
Woo!